Donald Trump not only running country right now, he also quietly writing audition script for next Democratic presidential nominee. Not with endorsements, not with backroom deals, but with pressure. And pressure always reveals who can stand upright, who can only posture, and who can translate anger into power. Look at what is happening. Democrats lose 2024, Republicans take Congress, and suddenly party has vacuum at top. When you have vacuum, governors step in, because governor is one of last jobs in American politics where you can both fight and govern at same time. You control budgets, police, schools, services, and you have platform with real consequences. So Trump comes in with aggressive agenda on immigration enforcement, deep spending cuts, and also this hardball push on congressional maps ahead of 2026. And for ambitious Democratic governors, this is not only threat, this is opportunity, because it gives them national story where they are hero, defender, counterweight. That is why you see same names again and again. Gavin Newsom in California, J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, Wes Moore in Maryland. Different styles, different biographies, but same strategic logic. Each one trying to show Democratic voters one thing. I am not intimidated. I will punch back. I will be the person who can put checks on Trump. Newsom plays it like national theater with policy attached. When Trump leans on Republican states to redraw districts to help his party in midterms, Newsom turns it into ballot fight in California, pushing measures that can help Democrats take extra seats. Then he celebrates, not quietly in Sacramento, but with speech to Democrats in Houston, Texas. Houston. That is not accident. That is him saying, I can export fight beyond my borders. I can talk to Democrats in hostile terrain. I am thinking mathematically, not emotionally. This is how a presidential campaign begins without saying words, I am running. Pritzker is doing different version. He positions himself as shield for immigrant communities against enforcement surge. He signs legislation designed to block federal arrests at schools and courthouses. Symbolically, this is powerful. It tells voters, I will use state power to make federal crackdown harder. Then he goes to places like New Hampshire and other Democratic gatherings outside Illinois, and message is not just Trump bad. Message also Democrats too timid. He is telling base, you want fighter? I will be fighter, and I will shame my own side into courage. Moore plays it through governing and moral contrast. During shutdown drama and cuts, he attacks shrinking federal workforce and reductions to food aid for low-income families, and he responds by restoring full benefits in Maryland. This is important detail. It is not only speech, it is action with receipt. Then he campaigns in swing states, builds relationships, shows face where future primary and general election coalitions live. He also moves toward redrawing Maryland's congressional map as direct response to Trump. Again, this is not just policy, it is a signal to party. I understand power. Now, many people will say this is just normal politics. Opposition always rise when president unpopular. True. But what makes this moment different is the way Trump governs. He governs like he wants conflict, because conflict keeps his coalition energized, keeps media focused, and forces opponents to react on his terrain. That means Democrats who want to lead party are being shaped by this environment. They are learning to win attention through confrontation. They are learning to nationalize state fights. They are learning to speak in viral language. Even Newsom, who is governor, spends time trolling on social media with spoof posts that go viral, mocking Trump for things like symbolic awards and embarrassing optics. Here is the paradox. The very thing that helps these governors rise Trump's aggressive style, also pulls them into his game. And Trump knows this. He attacks them personally, calls them names, tries to brand them as extremists from far-left states. This is his old method. Create villain, put spotlight, force national audience to associate opponent with chaos, crime, radicals, whatever works. When he insults Newsom, Pritzker, Moore, it is not just childish, it is strategy. He wants them to become face of Democratic Party, because then he can run against caricature he chooses. So governors walking on narrow bridge, they need to show resistance to satisfy base, because Democratic voters right now want one thing above all: check on Trump. Polling and mood inside parties show it. After defeat, people crave backbone. They want elected officials who do not fold. But if you build whole identity as anti-Trump, you risk becoming negative mirror. You risk having no affirmative program that persuades independence. And you risk letting Trump define you. This is why comparison to earlier eras matters. Think about how national figures rise in opposition periods. Sometimes it is because they have one big no that becomes symbol, like opposition to Iraq war in Bush years. That made certain politicians look prescient and courageous. But the ones who turned that moment into presidency also offer bigger yes, not just I opposed. They offer story of what America should be. This is what democratic governors must solve. And here is another uncomfortable part. A lot of this theater is happening around redistricting and immigration. These are not abstract policy debates, they are power and identity. Redistricting is basically legal engineering of elections. It decides who gets voice. When Trump pushes for maps that help his party, Democrats respond in kind, looking for ways to secure seats too. It becomes arms race. Both sides claim moral high ground, but incentives are pure power. And immigration enforcement is perfect trigger issue because it touches law, economy, culture, fear, compassion, and it creates strong images for media. Military-style raids in cities, protests, state officials suing, federal officials threatening. This is made for national politics. So what does this mean for 2028? It means Democratic primary may become contest of who can demonstrate most credible resistance without looking unserious. That is why these governors are traveling to early states. Newsom shows up in South Carolina, Pritzker speaks in New Hampshire, Moore does dinners and big civil rights stages, and AACP-type events. They are not waiting for 2027. They are planting flags now, because Trump presidency accelerates timeline. Every confrontation becomes audition clip. But we should not romanticize it. The party still has problem. Enthusiasm inside base does not automatically translate into national win. You can have crowd in Houston cheering because governor came to fight. But swing voter in Wisconsin or Arizona does not care about your clever social media post. They care about prices, safety, stability, and whether you look like adult. This is the key test. Let me give you one analogy because it helps. Think of Trump era like high-pressure steam system. Trump turns valve and pressure rises everywhere. Governors are like pressure gauges on different parts of machine. When they respond, they show whether they can operate under stress without blowing gasket. Some will look strong, some will look performative, some will melt. But also, pressure can make gauges lie if you only stare at needle and not whole system. Viral confrontation may feel like momentum, but election is bigger machine. You need coalition, turnout, persuasion, and credible governance. Now, tough question everyone avoids. Are Democrats actually building plan to win country, or just building plan to win argument with Trump, because these are not same thing. It is emotionally satisfying to clap back. It is fundraising gold. It is great for base. But can you talk about border enforcement without sounding naive? Can you talk about crime without surrendering values? Can you talk about budgets without promising everything and paying nothing? This is where presidential candidates are made or broken. Also watch how Trump may keep picking fights with certain states for reason. He targets California, Illinois, Maryland, because they are easy symbols for his base. They are big, blue, and already hated by his coalition. That gives those governors platform, yes, but it also gives Trump easy enemy. Governors like Whitmer, Shapiro, Beshear may be in 2028 mix too, but if Trump not giving them same conflict spotlight, they will have to build national profile through different story. Maybe competence, maybe bipartisan appeal, maybe economic wins. That could matter in general election. Being less targeted may actually be advantage. And there is one more wrinkle. When governors start pushing back hard, they also test federalism itself. How much can states resist federal enforcement? What happens when state laws try to block federal action? What happens when Congress rewrites rules? What happens when courts step in? This kind of conflict can escalate. It energizes politics, but it also strains institutions. Ordinary people pay first when systems clash, when funding delayed, when services disrupted, when fear rises. So if you want clear takeaway, it is this. Trump is not just opponent for Democrats. He is training environment. He is shaping which skills get rewarded. Confrontation, rapid response, national messaging, and willingness to weaponize state power against federal agenda. The governors who master this will look like leaders inside party. But the one who becomes president in 2028 will be governor who can do something harder. Fight Trump without becoming Trump. Satisfy base without trapping themselves in activist bubble. And turn resistance into credible promise of stability. Watch 2026 midterms. Watch how these governors talk when cameras not friendly. Watch whether they can speak to people who did not vote for them. If they cannot, then all this standing up to Trump is just audition for role that never gets hired. If they can, then you are watching early formation of next national contest, built not in speeches about future, but in battles over maps, rates, budgets, and who gets to say what America is.